Hello students, today we will discuss about PLEOCHROISM. It is one of the important property of minerals by virtue of which the minerals are being identified under pathological microscope. So what is PLEOCHROISM? Pleo means more than one, chroism means color. A mineral displays more than one color when it is being viewed in plain polarized light in microscope. So it is the property, it is the optical property of mineral by virtue of which the mineral shows quantitative or qualitative change of color when it is observed in plain polarized light through rotation of the stage of the microscope by an angle of 90 degree. So this is one of the important property of minerals, and it results due to differential absorption of light in different directions of the mineral. As we know that the minerals, they are either having uniform atomic structure in all directions or they are having anisotropy in their atomic arrangement, because of which the minerals either show uniform absorption of light and uniform transmission of light, or they may show a variation in transmission of light, as a result of which there occurs either quantitative or qualitative change of color, and this phenomenon of minerals is described as PLEOCHROISM, and by virtue of which the minerals are identified under microscope. So how the minerals behave and what are the minerals that show PLEOCHROISM and what are the minerals that do not show PLEOCHROISM, and why it is now to be discussed. The minerals which crystallize in cubic system do not show PLEOCHROISM as their atomic structure is uniform in all directions. We know the minerals which crystallize in cubic system are isotropic. That is, they have same optical characters in all directions, and therefore in them when the light ray is being transmitted, it suffers equal absorption in all directions, as a result of which there occurs no differential absorption, and therefore the minerals crystallized in cubic system, they do not show PLEOCHROISM. The sections of minerals which are cut perpendicular to optic axis of uniaxial or biaxial minerals, they do not show PLEOCHROISM, because these sections which are cut perpendicular to optic axis, whether it is uniaxial or biaxial, in that case what happens that those sections contain uniform atomic structure, because when light vibrate in those planes, they suffer no double refraction and their velocity remains the same in all directions in that plane, in all directions of vibration in that plane, because of uniform atomic structure. In case of uniaxial minerals, it is the basal section which is presenting this character, and therefore there occurs no double refraction along the C axis of uniaxial minerals, which is perpendicular to the basal section, and therefore these basal sections of uniaxial minerals do not show PLEOCHROISM. Similarly, the sections cut perpendicular to any one of the optic axis in case of biaxial minerals, they do not show pleochroism. And the light colored minerals, they, because they are light in color, that means they do not absorb light and transmit all wavelengths of white light. That's why they do not show pleochroism. For example, quartz, feldspars, muscovite, they do not show pleochroism because they are white in color. Dark colored minerals usually show pleochroism, but all dark colored minerals do not show pleochroism. For example, olivine, agate, they do not show no pleochroism. But there are some dark colored minerals such as biotite, hornblende, they show pleochroism. So, pleochroism is shown by the dark colored minerals, and again all dark colored minerals do not show pleochroism. The uniaxial minerals show variation in color in two directions, that is parallel to C-axis and perpendicular to C-axis. This is basal plane and this is C-axis direction, perpendicular to basal plane. So these are the two directions along which the vibrations vary, and that's why the color varies in these two directions. This is for O ray vibration direction, this is E ray vibration direction, parallel to C-axis. So these are the two directions along which the light vibrates. Light is either absorbed to a different extent, and accordingly there may occur variation in color absorption along this O ray vibration direction and that in E ray vibration direction, and accordingly they may show the variation in two directions. And therefore the uniaxial mineral is said to be dichroic. And in order to study the pleochroic phenomenon, the prismatic sections of the uniaxial minerals are chosen for finding out the differential absorption of light. But in case of biaxial minerals, there are three vibration directions X, Y, Z, which are mutually perpendicular. In order to know the color in them, two sections will be required to identify the color. And we know XZ sections show maximum retardation and can give the color for X vibration direction and for Z vibration direction. So another section is required, that is to know the vibration direction of Y. So for that XY plane sections or YZ plane sections are selected, so that a clear picture of the light vibrating parallel to X, Y and Z can be known. And as there are three directions of variation in light vibration, there can be three changes in color, and that's why the biaxial minerals are said to be trichroic, or they can be called as simply they can be called as pleochroic, whereas the uniaxial minerals are said to be dichroic because their color variation takes place either in O direction and epsilon direction, or along E vibration direction. the term pleo means more than one and chroic means color, and here in case of biaxial minerals they are trichloric or they can be simply called as pleochroic. So if you take a uniaxial mineral, so this is the direction of optic axis, C axis. So this is the basal section. This section presents uniform atomic structure, because of which there occurs no double refraction when light enters into this plane perpendicularly, and therefore this section or the basal section does not show any pleochroism, no pleochroism. But if you take a prismatic section, this section, this contains the omega like this and epsilon like this. So prismatic sections show maximum retardation, so maximum pleochroism. In oblique sections they show intermediate pleochroism, or the color variation will be between maximum and the minimum. That will range between these two. That's why it is intermediate rate of absorption. Then let us see how pleochroism takes place in uniaxial minerals. In order to study the dichroism of uniaxial minerals, the prismatic sections or sections called parallel to optic axis are chosen. When that section is observed in plane polarized light, the vibrations parallel to C axis or the vibrations parallel to when that section is, particularly this prismatic section is observed in plane polarized light, the polarized light that comes from the polarizer will pass through the C vibration directions, and that color will be the color for E ray. Similarly, when the section is rotated 90 degree from that position, the O ray direction will become parallel to the polarizer vibration direction, and that polarized light will pass through along the O ray vibration direction, and it will give the color of the O ray. Thus, we know the color of O ray and E ray, and if there is variation in color, then this pleochroism is described in terms of these two colors. Or if the section is intermediate, it is oblique section, then the color varies from the color that is, or this color varies within the color seen for O ray and that for E ray. So it is intermediate color. So pleochroism of a mineral is described in terms of a formula or a scheme. It is called pleochroic scheme or pleochroic formula, which involves the description of the color of the mineral along the vibration direction and the degree of absorption. That means which ray is more absorbed than the other. Here in case of uniaxial, comparatively whether O ray is observed or E ray is observed, that is being described. Thus, a mineral which has pleochroic color for omega light yellow, for epsilon deep yellow, then E ray is said to be more absorbed than omega, and it will be described as epsilon greater than omega. That means E rays are more absorbed than O rays, because of which the E rays present dark color, whereas omega presents light color. So pleochroic scheme will be epsilon greater than omega. This means E vibrations are more absorbed than O ray vibrations, and here the absorption scheme is weak. It is not that it is not strong absorption, because light simply changes from deep to light. So absorption is weak. Epsilon, and it can be described as epsilon is greater than O, because E rays are more absorbed than that of the O. So this is the way how the PLEOCHROIC scheme or the PLEOCHROIC formula or the PLEOCHROISM in a mineral is being described. Generally, deeper the color, more is the absorption; lighter the color, less is the absorption. If a mineral shows E colorless, O colorless, then the scheme will be absorption is nil, E is equal to O. And let us see PLEOCHROIC scheme of another uniaxial mineral, tourmaline. O very dark brown, E light dirty yellow. So O is greater than E. This is the absorption. Sol, it is another variety of this tourmaline. Omega shows you dark brown green, it is pale green. So omega is greater than epsilon. Scheme. So here there is a color change. Here simply light to deep. That's why it is weak absorption. Here it is strong absorption. You can say it is strong absorption. Let us come to PLEOCHROISM of biaxial minerals. So here the color for the fast vibrations X, intermittent vibrations Y, and that for slow vibrations Z are being determined by taking sections XZ, XY or YZ to note down the color for X, Y and Z vibration directions. Then we can describe the formula scheme, which vibration is more observed, which vibration is less observed. So color variation will be between X and Z. X is the fastest vibration, Z is the slowest vibration, whereas Y is the intermediate vibration direction. Let us take some examples. Anthophyllite. Anthophyllite, which show it is a biaxial mineral. X is brownish, Y brownish, Z light yellow. So X is equal to Y greater than Z. It is deeper than this. So X is equal to Y greater than Z. So this is the absorption formula. In case of hornblende, it is found to be strongly PLEOCHROIC. X is yellowish green, it is deep green, it is brownish green. Z is brownish green. Brown, green, yellow green. So this is the scheme. Hypersthene. X is a light red, Y is light yellow red, Z is light green. So yellow, red, so X is equal to Y greater than Z. Absorption is weak. In case of andalusite, X colorless, Y colorless, Z light rose pink. So Z is more absorbed than X and Y. So this is the absorption formula. Similarly, in case of biotite, X is pale yellow, Y is brown, Z is dark brown. Dark brown is more absorbed than the other. So Z greater than Y greater than X is the scheme. Chloride, colorless to pale green, green, deep green. The deep green is more observed, so Z greater than Y greater than X. Glaucophene, pale yellow, blue violet. This is more observed, blue than this. So this is the scheme. So it is to be remembered that darkest the color, highest will be the absorption of light. In silicates, mostly in biaxials or silicates, generally PLEOCHROIC scheme is Z greater than Y greater than X. Causes of PLEOCHROISM. PLEOCHROISM is the property of anisotropy minerals. The atomic structure of minerals crystallizing in non-cubic systems is not uniform in all directions. There are certain directions in which light propagates with greater velocity compared to the other directions in which velocity of light is slowest. It is ultimately controlled by the atomic environment of the concerned mineral. So it is often seen that in some minerals, elongated elements occur within the atomic structure of the minerals. They cause much anisotropy and hence on the rate of absorption of light. Based on the differential rate of absorption of light, the color type depends and varies, which account for pleochroism in minerals. So it can be summarized that pleochroism is a phenomenon of all minerals by which the minerals show a qualitative or quantitative change of color when they are being observed in plane polarized light by rotating the stage of the microscope through an angle of 90 degree, and this occurs due to differential rate of absorption of light in different directions, and this differential absorption is controlled by the different atomic distribution or different manner of atomic arrangement, as a result of which there occurs differential absorption of light, and it leads to a change in color either in quality or in quantity or in both. And this phenomenon of a mineral to show a variation in color is described in terms of pleochroism, and this is one of the important property which identifies some minerals, for example biotite, hornblende, hypersthene, tourmaline, which are highly pleochroic in their character. So this is all about pleochroism.